Okay, and we are live. We are live, and we have a few people. It's going to just take probably about 20 seconds.
Okay, and we are live.
Okay, and so, live. Oh, what?
And no. We have a
So there we go. I forgot that the video was playing in the background. I was like,
oh, okay. That's what the echo was coming from. Okay.
Right. Yes. I was like, oh no, is that his microphone? I was like, wait a minute. I said that 10 seconds ago. All right. So I put that on pause. You know, it's a rookie mistake, as they say, but hey, that's okay. Every day is a new day, and I'm always starting from the beginning. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Jason, Mari, 77 Salagi. Thank you so much for being here, and all the lovely folks behind the scenes. I'm so excited. I have this fantastic guest that you are going to be so blessed to be in this sacred space with us. So let me go ahead and bring the chimes out and invite the chimes. So if we can take a nice deep centering breath to bring us into this sacred space. So thank you everyone for being here. So I have with me this evening the beloved, the amazing Astarius Miraculii, Ascension.
Thank you so much.
Ambassador.
I have a logistical question though.
Okay.
Are we both on the screen now?
We are not both on the screen, but what I will do is when you're talking, I'm going to have the screen completely on you.
Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yes. Okay. So Astarius, the screen is on you now. Welcome, beloved. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, you are welcome, and you are infinitely worthy. You know, it is absolutely an honor to be here and to share sacred space and to offer frequency that is going to bring not only transformation to the people who are in, earshot and in eye shot of this experience, but unto the whole universe, because that which is done unto the drop or the drops is also done unto the whole universe. So it's wonderful that the universe is going to receive this download, by extension through whoever it is that are, present and receiving now.
Yes. Thank you so much. I first came across your beingness. It was probably about a year and a half ago. There was somebody on Facebook at a gathering. I believe it might have been in Atlanta. I'm not sure. And you were having a sound healing session. And I was just blown away. And I believe in this healing session, you actually play the didgeridoo, but then you actually swallowed the didgeridoo and began to yourself. And I was just mesmerized, and the vibration, it was like a trillion ohms going through my body and just reminding me from where I came in the cosmos. So I would like, if you're okay with it, if you could tell us a little bit about your healing journey.
Okay. Well, sound is the primordial first cause. I've been on this journey of teaching, and dancing in the spiritual dance for, more than 40 years. It's been a long time. And the sound frequency I've been working with the didgeridoo, maybe 23 years, and the vocal harmonics, maybe 21 or so years. And the vocal harmonics aspect, which in a moment I'm going to share some of that, is a process of using the voice where simultaneous highs and lows is created with one voice. The highs represent heaven, the lows represent earth, and which then create a marriage of heaven and earth in the cells of your body and calls you home to your absoluteness. See, these sounds are carrier waves of consciousness that trigger a remembering of who we are in the greater exaltation of our being. you know, the exaltation of who we are in the past. So we have the capacity to commemorate our exaltation of the past, but we also have the capacity to pre-memorate our exaltation of the future. Because in the greatest truth, every time is now. So we can commemorate the past and pre-memorate the future and bring it into the now memoration of this now moment. And so the frequency of sound traverses all of these planes, past, present, and future, and become a means by which we can download it all into the present moment. You know, these sound currents don't live in the physical domain. They pass through the physical to trigger our remembering.
Right on.
And so to bring it to the experiential domain, I'm going to offer a few tones. And for all of you beloveds that are out there, you know, receiving this, the intention behind these tones is to trigger an awakening of the multi-dimensional ascended self that we all are, who we are as a walking universe. But not only being a walking universe, but being in the conscious awareness of the fact that we are a walking universe, and that nobody can do the universe exactly like you, Tamu. Nobody can do the universe exactly like me, Astarius, and any of you beloveds that are out there. So these tones are for triggering the remembering of the ascended master self at the cellular level, as well as offering peace to all of the troubled spots within our world. So this healing frequency is given to you and me and every being in all existence, included in helping in the healing, on behalf of any man, woman, being, or thing that ever hurt you in any lifetime. I, as representative of every man, woman, being, and thing, sacredly apologize to you by the grace of God, Goddess, the whole universe, our being, give back to you any energy, any power ever falsely taken from you by any man, woman, being, or thing in any lifetime, and holding sacred space for you to take back any energy, any power you ever falsely gave away to any man, woman, being, or thing in any lifetime, calling back all your fragments and soul pieces for your wholeness, your ascension, and your passionate expression of forgiveness. Aho Ashe. Amen Namaste. Hotep and Lakesh Alakin Shalom Satnam Hariom Rastafari. Your sacred juices are cooked and infinitely expanding. Juicefari. Let you always have many miles on your smile, wiggle in your giggle, tingling in your boots, laughter ever after, putting your strut, wings on your butt, always rising up. So it is, and so it shall eternally be.
And so it is. Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you. That was amazing. So I really, and I'm sure, you know, many people in our audience, both live and in the replay, would love to learn a little bit about your spiritual background, how you learned all of this. I mean, not step-by-step details, but you can tell us a little bit of your
Okay.
awakening.
Well, it's been a great journey for me. I had, prior to my spiritual awakening, from age 16 to 22, I call it my 6 years of insanity, growing up in the treacherous ghettos of Chicago, where all of my role models were pimps and hoes and gangsters and thieves and con men and con women. And I got caught up in that treachery for those 6 years. But
Right.
God was kind enough to take care of me through all of that. And just before I turned 22, the light came on. And actually, in my 21st year, I met a woman and fell very deeply in love with her, which I didn't want to feel that way about anybody. I was a very hateful being, had a lot of hatefulness toward the goddess, hatefulness toward my mother. It was just, I was steeped in very, very dark, dark place. But I fell in love with this woman, and it was the way that the Creator had a plan for slowing me down. So that I could come to a place of universal love where I am now. I have this big love for every being in all existence. And it's actually enlightened self-interest, because when I love you, I'm loving my own self by extension. And I know that. So it's, loving is like breathing for me now.
Right.
But I had to fall in love with that woman, and it had to slow me down. And that relationship lasted for just 9 months, a period of gestation. And then afterwards, I stepped full on onto my spiritual path. And, everybody that I was associated was of that street world, that game, that was that whole negative world. So I was a hermit for a very long period of time, because I knew nobody that was in the spiritual domain. I came in through books, because I had a chart done, an astrological chart, which kept saying I would benefit from the investigation of metaphysics and the occult. So I went out and bought me some books, and began to read. And so for, many months, I was just this hermit, where I would read all of these spiritual books, metaphysics, Rosicrucianism, yoga, theosophy, and on, just comparative religion and philosophy. And all these things I was reading, I instantly knew. So it wasn't like having to learn something for the first time. It was like remembering something.
Yes.
And so I just stepped full on onto my spiritual path. And, I just instantly was just in the mantle of the teacher, because I was pregnant with all of this information, and I was able to begin to share that. And then I discovered your Unity Church and Science of Mind churches, churches that were teaching this, these particular principles, and it continued to grow. Then my first modality of healing was healing through breath, through pranayama. And then the astrology came in, became a psychic astrologer, some years, down the road after that, like maybe in the neighborhood of 1979, 1980, and so that was my first, modality of sharing, information, was through the astrology. And then, the Reiki came in, and I began to practice and teach Reiki. Then the sonic frequency, came in. The didgeridoo came first, and then the vocal harmonics. At some point, maybe I even played a didgeridoo.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Yeah. So yes, it's been an amazing journey. And, I have this big love for every being. And, I want for every being to be able to ride the bliss wave the way that I do. Because I feel like I'm riding the bliss wave all the way to the cosmogasm, and allowing the cosmogasm to pour out the baptism upon my soulgasm in order to create everything that I want to be, do, have, achieve, and create. And so, my role is about how to impart that frequency to others, how to facilitate others in feeling, this monumental vibration and frequency that I live and move and have my being in.
Right. Wow. That was amazing. That was a powerhouse in a little tiny nutshell. So back to the astrology. There's this big debate between like sidereal astrology and tropical astrology. Where do
Okay.
you fall along that line?
Well, I'm a tropical astrologer, and I believe that all the modalities work.
Right.
And for me, it's not so much an issue of what modality you use. It's more an issue of how masterful are you in the use of that modality.
There you go.
Okay. Because there's a slight difference in tropical astrology or sidereal astrology, or what, is sometimes called Vedic astrology, and there's a little bit of a difference. Like in tropical astrology, I'm an Aquarian. In Vedic astrology, they would consider me to be a Capricorn. Well, for me, what I look for is where are the points of commonality? Not so much where are the points of difference or separation, but where are the points of commonality? So when you look at, the sidereal astrology and tropical astrology, or Vedic astrology, tropical astrology, the commonality that you're going to find is, even though there may be certain planets in different signs, the thing that's going to be in common is what, if in sidereal astrology, the sun is square Pluto, then in tropical astrology, the sun is also going to be square Pluto. Right. So there's a commonality, so you have that commonality. And so that's what I look for. Now, I've never practiced sidereal astrology. I've never practiced Vedic astrology. I trust that those modalities work, provided the one expressing and using that modality has the mastery and has the connection.
Right, right. So I'm just curious, when it comes to astrology, are you able to tell a person's future? What exactly can you tell?
Well, when we're looking at astrology, we're looking at probabilities of character and probabilities of circumstances.
Okay.
And I say probabilities because it's not written in stone. Because astrology is a reflection of the cause and effect of one's life. The grace and mercy of source, of creator, is a law above and beyond cause and effect. So the whole purpose of the astrology is to see the blueprint that's laid out for our lives, but to know that we have the power to alter the blueprint.
Okay.
When we look at probabilities that we don't want, like maybe there's a horrible probability that we're approaching, or a horrible probability that could be depicted, let's say, through a Pluto square the sun. But we have the power to transform that Pluto square the sun into more of the flavor of Pluto trine the sun. But we got to bring a consciousness of source to it. We got to be walking in our goddesshood, knowing that we hold the power to change things. Yeah. That if we see something that is likely to come into being, but that we don't want, then we know we have the power to create differently.
Okay.
We have the power to alter that, but we have to do it from the all-inclusiveness of who we are as the universe operating through the portal of our individual soul. If we're operating from the exclusiveness of individual soul, splintered off from the rest of who we are, then we are debilitated in our power.
Right, right.
Because we are the universe,
right,
personified in and through us. Nobody can do the universe exactly like Tamu.
Right.
You see? So if we carry that awareness to it, then we can affect the change that we want.
Right.
So, it's a matter of how do we transcend the would-be difficulties of the chart.
Okay. Yes.
It maybe those difficulties is reflected through a particular quality of a person that you attract to yourself.
Right.
So rather than letting the attention be trained on, let's say, some negative qualities of that person, what if you look larger?
Right.
And see a higher possibility of qualities being expressed through that being, or begin to interface with higher qualities, even though that being may still be resonating at a lower frequency. But then what begins to occur for you is the higher resonance, which is where you're placing your attention. You might say, I align with everywhere and every wind that this being is in their most exalted resonance of being. You see, and so then that's what you interface with, but also you then make a meaningful deposit in their soul bank. because you're exemplifying, or you're holding an image that they've not been able to own yet, but you plant that in their soul bank, which then accumulates interest until such time that they can make that withdrawal and benefit from that, deposit that you made for them. We have the power to change things. We are meant to be empowered by everything, but we got to operate with more than that 5 or 10% of the brain capacity, because the other 90 to 9%, 90 to, or 95% of brain capacity aligns with our God, goddesshood.
Yes. Yes.
And we have to be owning our personal divinity.
Yes.
In order to access that greater expanse of consciousness.
Right. Right on. Thank you for that explanation. Now, speaking of owning our God and goddesshood, can you share with us what are your basic, without needing to go into too personal detail, what are your basic spiritual practices that you do each day to help, generate your power?
On a daily basis, I meditate.
Okay.
On a daily basis, I do invocations and affirmations. Some of you are, I'm sure you're familiar with spirit rap. I invoke, decree, and dream, awake the fool, cellular ascension of mind. So, declarations of truth, affirmations, invocations, that is pronouncing who I am in the greater expanse of my being. So it's a constant feeding of my mind and feeding of my soul of exalted principles of selfhood. I'm always involved with deep and full breathing. See, that's, and so many people breathe shallow, just like the average person uses 5 or 10% of the brain capacity. The average person breathes about 5 or 10% of the breathing capacity. Now, breath is God hiding in plain sight inside of us.
Yes.
And we experience the movement of God through the movement of our breath.
Yes.
So I'm always in this deep, slow, elongated process of breath, because with each deep breath, we are ingesting more of God.
Right on.
We oxygenate the brain cells so the mind becomes sharper. We bring about a stillness of the monkey mind, so the thoughts come to stillness. The emotional body comes into alignment. And there's always an emerging from this deep breathing with a deeper sense of oneness with source.
Yes.
And so, I'm always doing that. And then I do a Reiki treatment on myself every day. Aside from the Reiki treatments that I do on others, I do a Reiki treatment on myself, which operates automatically in the zone of meditation, balancing the emotional body, stilling the consciousness, and an emergence with a deeper sense of oneness with source.
Right on.
And then another thing that I do on a daily basis is share my heart. Like, as I'm sharing this information with you, I'm loving you so much as I share this information, because I want you to feel it and receive it on the wings of love. Even when I'm in the grocery store, part of my spiritual practice is, holding a high possibility, seeing the greater exaltation of possibilities in every person in there. Like when people standing in a line and they're so impatient and agitated about having to wait, I'll go into a place of stillness and I'll send this high frequency energy out to everybody standing in the line, and envision that this blanket of peace is coming. Oh, so that's part of my spiritual practice. If I see an accident happening, and, people, laid out on the streets, and I drive by that, I immediately begin to send forth frequency to that. You begin to call forth the angels and ascended masters to go and take charge of that situation. Even though I can't stop and physically go there, I send forth, the higher dimensional beings to take care of that situation.
Right.
And on and on and on. It's like every moment, like even in this moment, part of my spiritual practice is knowing that this information is landing in an experiential way for every person who is listening and viewing, and that their life is becoming richer. They're becoming more encompassed by the essence of their godhood. As they move forward in their life's going to be even that much more delicious. So every breath is a part of my spiritual practice. Every moment, a part of my spiritual practice.
Yes, that was beautiful, Astarius. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So I have Jason here. Jason mentions that he can't believe how powerful your sound healing was, that it had an effect on him even through the phone just now. And I remember a message he sent earlier that his head was buzzing. So he thanked you. And you mentioned spirit rap. So you make music? Duh. Okay, that's
Yeah, I have 19 CDs.
Woo, 19.
And my website is astarius.com, Astarius.com.
Yes.
That's Astarius.com, Astarius.com. And I have sound clips on all of my music. You know, people can hear sound samples. I have 2 books. One, Miraculii, Song of Ascension. And the other one is Feast of the Zodiac, Wisdom of Astrology, where I've written a poem on every one of the astrological signs.
Wow.
So, and there's excerpts from both books available there. And then also big presence on YouTube, you know, 230 some odd videos on YouTube, been blessed to reach 1.2 million views there. So definitely check out Astarius Miraculii on YouTube. And you got the spelling of Astarius Miraculii, my last name, Miraculii.
Yes. And your links will be in the description. Your website is definitely in the description box below. And I've put it in the chat room, and I will make sure to get your YouTube channel down there as well. Okay.
Yeah. And the thing that I think was Jason that said something about his head was buzzing.
Yes.
The one thing that I want to mention, when I produce those sound currents, I am in the all-inclusiveness of who I am as the whole universe, even unto God, Goddess absolute. And that's what's portaling through my individual being. So it's way bigger than the exclusiveness of Astarius Miraculii. Astarius Miraculii is the portal through which the greater expanse of who I am as God, Goddess absolute, the universe, pouring through. And that's why these frequencies land so powerfully.
Right. Okay. So what I'd like to ask, you know, I know you mentioned that you have over 200 videos plus videos on your YouTube channel. And I also noticed, I think you do some lives on Facebook. And also, let's see what else. People come to you for spiritual counseling or for classes. What sort of classes do you offer?
Well, I teach Reiki, you know, first level, second level, master level Reiki. You know, I also teach, you know, in the vein of ascension wisdom, you know, helping people to understand the ascension frequency of who, you know, we all are, you know, as an ascended master, you know, the ascended master self. And certainly vocal harmonics. I plan to go very, very deep into teaching this vocal art that has been such a blessing, you know, for me, you know. And there are certain things that I'll teach online. I mean, that's going to be a very interesting process of how to teach the vocal harmonics online. You know, I do ultimately plan to get to that, even though some of the deeper ways in which to impart that is when I actually teach that in person, you know. But I know because I have such a big online following, I'm going to figure out, you know, a way to impart that. I mean, I can impart everything that I need to impart, but sometimes what I like to do is to get the response of where a person is at in their ability to produce sounds, you know. And that's what we have to get figured out with regards to the online teaching of that. But I'm going to make it happen. And certainly we'll be doing some teaching with the Didgeridoo, you know, as well. And I do psychic astrology readings. You know, it's very solution-oriented approach, you know, always helping a person know how they can transcend difficulties. And then my sound healings involve, you know, transmissions with the Didgeridoo, you know, with vocal harmonics, you know, and also with Reiki and chanting and invocations.
Right, right on. So I know Zoom. I don't know if you're familiar with Zoom software, but that's a really good software to use.
I've been hearing about Zoom. I haven't.
Good.
I think I've been on Zoom one time because somebody else was using it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, that I feel that that's definitely worth looking into.
Yes, it definitely is. So speaking of didgeridoo,
Okay.
how now did you learn the vocal harmonizing before the didgeridoo or after?
No, the didgeridoo came first.
Okay.
And harmonics came, and like didgeridoo, I've been playing 23 years.
Okay.
Vocal harmonics, right about 21 years. And so about a couple of years into playing didgeridoo, I decided that I wanted to learn to do vocal harmonics, you know, with the same level of mastery as I was playing the didgeridoo.
Yeah.
At that time, that was a huge order because I'd went so far and fast with the didgeridoo. Now I do them both equally. I also had a mystical experience when I was 1 year into playing the didgeridoo. I started playing when I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, first of all, the first time I ever heard a live didgeridoo, I heard 6 didgeridoo players playing at one time. So the creator really wanted me to get it. I mean, it's enough to hear one live didgeridoo, but 6 at one time, you know, and that was, I think, the way that the creator was showing me how important it was. And I found a really wonderful didgeridoo maker. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy one of those in a couple of weeks. That's a very meditative sound. I like that. And he had some great instruments. So before that 2 weeks passed, I was working a Whole Life Expo in Santa Fe. And I was doing Reiki and psychic astrology readings. And lo and behold, the man right across in my eye line for the whole weekend was an Aboriginal man doing sound healings with the didgeridoo. I said, oh my God, I knew I was going to buy one of those. Now I know what I'm going to do with it. So, you know, each step of the way I was being shown. Then I was 1 year into playing the didgeridoo and was at a friend's house who's a beekeeper. My beloved and I went out by the beehives, and the bees were going and coming from the hives. I stood behind her, playing the didgeridoo into her back, and Spirit called my name from the inside. Spirit says, Astarius. And internally I answered, I said, yes. So this is one of those 2x4 over the head clarity moments, right? Where you know Spirit is right there. So I'm still playing on her, but a dialogue with Spirit has started. Spirit says, Astarius. I said, yes. Spirit said, you're from the clan of the trumpet angels. And a light went off in every cell of my body. And I had this instantaneous understanding of why I'd had such a profound experience playing the didgeridoo at that time, playing for just a year. So I'm excited to tell her what I got. I didn't stop playing on her right away, but at the point when I stopped playing before I could tell her what I got, she looks at me and she says, oh my God, I just saw the biggest angel Deva I've ever seen. So God gave me the message in 2 different ways. Let me clairaudiently hear I'm from the clan of the trumpet angels, and clairvoyantly showed her the angel. Okay, and so all the outrageous things I do with sound, I do it by virtue of my connection to my clan, the clan of the trumpet angels. I am a trumpet angel. Wow. You see, and so they have taught me that they are the keepers of didgeridoo prior to it being passed to the tribal Aborigines of Australia. They taught me that didgeridoo is not that tube through which the sound comes. Didgeridoo is the sound that comes through it. And that tube is its body. Wow. They taught me that they are the keepers of all of the sacred sounds. Like every instrument that we have in this physical domain produces a sound which was a reality of sound in the celestial realms before physicality, before the need for a material instrument to produce that sound. If you're playing a piano, piano is not the thing with the keys. Piano is the sound current emanating from it. The thing with the keys is its body. Guitar, not the thing you strum upon, you know, it's the sound current coming from it. The thing you strum upon is its body. It's the means by which that sound achieves its incarnation. Yes. Just like we achieve our incarnation through these bodies that we ride around inside of. And so it is with musical instruments. That sound achieves its incarnation through the material presence of that instrument that then produces that sound. But that sound was a reality in the celestial realms beforehand, because all of these sound frequencies are co-eternal with God.
Right.
And then when we come into the physical, then we need a means to produce these sounds on the physical plane. And sound is a resonance that has a foot in the physical domain as well as the spiritual domain simultaneously. It's in the realm of spirit because you can't grab a handful of it. You know, who can say, I got me a handful of this sound? Nobody can do it because it's nebulous and it moves like spirit.
Right.
You know, it is non-physical, but yet it has a physical presencing because you can hear it with the physical ear. So it is our liaison between the domain of the physical and the domain of the spiritual. Yeah. Sound is the primordial first cause, the means by which all things achieve their manifestation, but also the means by which we are escorted back into the domain of femifestation. See, and the domain of femifestation is the realm of the non-physical, where things are of the essence of spirit, where they're co-eternal with God, unfolding down the corridors of forever. Whereas when things come into manifestation, they are of time, where everything has an expiration date and things are transitory in the realm of time. Right. So time is of manifestation. Timelessness is of femifestation.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think if I could, I'd love to share my poem, The Great Femifestation.
Yes.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
The great femifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestations. Manifestation, the second coming of reality, is born of emotion in its totality. Thoughts and feelings create all forms, and blessings thrive before they are born. So through great prior appreciation, flood your life with manifestations. The great femifestation is eternal, a never-ending, formless stream of life. If manifestation is your only thrill, you're in the grips of fear and strife. Forms will come and forms will go. This is a truth that we all know, and all things of time and space at some point will be erased. Faith is the substance of all desires, the evidence of that which is not seen. So celebrate the unseen goodness, and all the riches of the kingdom are now yours to redeem. When the miracles of your life are still sleeping in the void, skyrocket your gratitude, and they come leaping from the void. You are pregnant with every blessing that will ever come to be, embryos within your soul, though human eyes have yet to see. So see with the eye of mind and heart into infinite realms of the great unseen. Choose wonderful feelings without concrete reasons, and all the riches of form and the kingdom are now yours to redeem. The great femifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestations.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. So I'd like to ask you about your dreams. Do you lucid dream? Do you have mystical dreams?
I have had lucid dreams, and the interesting thing that happens for me that seems to be a theme and a commonality when I have lucid dreams is, one, it's the strangest thing because it's like, it feels like a supersonic rocket. My body begins to feel like that. And then my body goes upside down, and I tend to go out of my body, feet first, going up. It's the strangest thing. And then I'll find myself inside of the room where my body is at. Okay. And the first thing that I love to do when I'm in the lucid state is pass through the walls. That's one of my most favorite things to do, because, you know, when I'm in that state, I'm totally in spirit. So I'll pass through the walls, and then I'll fly, you know, and when I fly, I'll go like straight up, like a rocket, and then sometimes dive down, and there's this knowingness that I can't be hurt. So sometimes, I'm coming down like, like I don't know how many miles per hour, or even if it can even be equated that way. And just before I hit the ground, I'll go back up. So there's this, it seems to be a theme that I go pass through the walls and I fly. And that's a commonality for what happens for me when I do go into the lucid state. The lucid state is really wonderful because in the lucid state, quite often you can resolve issues that exist within the physical plane. Mm-hmm. And when we're in the state of lucid dreaming, we are so close to the premium, pristine reality of our godhood. There's a level of faith and confidence and all of that exists. So I wish lucid dreams upon everybody. Yeah, just go ahead and lucid dream all over yourself.
Very good, very good. So would you be interested in sharing some more of your sound healing with us?
Yeah, with the didgeridoo. Let me grab a didgeridoo and share it that way. I think this will be really wonderful. Also, you have a little water here. For those who aren't familiar with the didgeridoo, I'll be playing with circular breathing. So that means when I take an inhalation, there's still a stream of air being blown out. And so there will be no gaps in the sound.
Wow.
And the uninterrupted sound is a reflection of the endless nature of eternity. Wow. So the sound current is waking up the eternal resonance within each one of our beings and calling us home to our absoluteness. So let me grab the didgeridoo right over here.
All right, thank you. I hope everyone is enjoying this, and I encourage you to please thumbs up, like this video, and please share this video with your friends, if for nothing more than the sound healing vibes, and to bless them with Astarius's channel. Okay, go right ahead.
Here we go. This healing given to you and me and every being in all existence, included and helping.
Yes, so it is. Wow. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Hotepin la keshalakin shalom. Justafari, your sacred juices are cooked and infinitely expanding because we are, after all, Justafarians. I say Justafari, I say Blistafari, you know. When I play that instrument, it brings forth that spirit of bliss.
Yes.
That spirit of juice, you know, and just that great exaltation. And what's so beautiful about that bliss is that bliss is co-eternal with God. So never is there a time when bliss is not. Bliss can't be missing. The only thing can be missing is attention upon bliss, where we take our attention and we train it upon fear and worry and doubt and all those things, you know, they're not about the bliss. But when we choose to just bring our attention back and say, let me just go ahead and bliss all over myself. I'm gonna bliss on you, you know. It's much better than doing that other thing that rhymes with it.
Yeah. That was beautiful. And again, I would like to encourage everyone to please check out Astarius.com, his website. He has a plethora of music CDs, just wonderful healing. I've purchased, I believe it was Spirit Rap, the Reiki CD, and one from Abraham or something like that. Do you have a CD on Abraham, Abraham CD?
Well, I've done some things that is a personal meditations with Abraham stuff. It's just it's not anything that I sell commercially. You know, on Abraham. You may have encountered. I'm trying to remember. I used to have something on YouTube, but sometimes what I have done is I'll just throw a little something that's one of the personal things. Like when you do an order, I'll throw something else that's a personal meditation thing that's not for sale. So you may, I probably threw something because I do have a couple of things that I've done in connection with Abraham, but it's just been my own personal meditation. So you probably was blessed with something like that.
Okay, thank you. That's
I know what you're talking about. I have a CD called Abraham Primordial Heart. Yeah. Well, that's all me. That was just dedicated to Abraham because Abraham has been such a powerful influence in my life, you know, in a really wonderful way. And so I dedicated that. So that's what you're talking about. Abraham Primordial Heart, which is vocal harmonics. I mean, it's just an amazing piece of work. You know?
Yes, it is. So I would encourage everyone to please visit his website. I believe you can buy an actual hard copy CD, right?
Hard copy CD, you know, and also digital downloads. So whatever the preference is, you know, you can get it all through my website. You know, if you prefer digital downloads, they'll be a little less expensive than the hard copy CD. But if you want the hard copy CD, you know, then you can order that and it'll be mailed to you. And all of my albums, if you buy 3, you'll get a 4th one free, whether it be this hard copy CD or the digital download. So that's one of the way you can get some extras, you know.
Yes, and it is not wasted energy, money, whatever. They're very healing. And I'm just, you know, I can't remember, do you have any CDs where it's all playing the didgeridoo? Do you have a CD?
Yeah, I have didgeridoo albums would be Sound Wizard.
Sound Wizard, okay.
Walking on Wings.
Okay.
And then I have Let's see, Primordial Didge.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I have a self-titled one called Astarius.
I'm going to have
the most recent ones, though, would be Sound Wizard, and Walking on Wings. That's Didgeridoo. And I have an amazing Didgeridoo album that's going to be coming up that's called Fly My Winged Lullaby.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, guys, could you just imagine putting on those albums in your headset, in your bed? You would be tranced right into dream time, lucid dreaming and flying all the way.
And also in some of my later albums, like Sound Wizard, and then I'll also have Deep Space Meditation, which is vocal harmonics, and an amazing prosperity piece called Prosperity Master Plan, and then also the Reiki Temple Chants. All of those have binaural beats in them as well.
Right.
They're binaural beats as well as spirit rap that is embedded subliminally in there. So you get all this energy working, and you got spirit rap working from underneath as well as the binaural beats. And for those of you who don't know what binaural beats are, it's like when you have one tone, let's say in the right ear, and a slightly different tone in the left ear, the relationship between the two tones create a third tone, which is the binaural beat. So if you were to take headphones, you got binaural beats, you put one headphone on one ear, you hear one distinct tone, put the other one on the other ear, you hear another distinct tone. But when you put them both on, all you can hear is the binaural beat that's in the middle. So it's like two tones that come together and make a baby, which is the binaural beat. And what that does is it creates this amazing dance between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And most of the binaural beats that I use take you into the theta brainwave frequency. So when you're in theta, you're like deep in the recesses of connection to your godhood, recognizing who you are as an expression of source, as your own version of God, Goddess Absolute.
Yes, so true. So let's see. I have one question from On High in here, and she wants to know, will you do some spirit rap? Do you have any samples from your spirit rap CD?
I knew somebody would ask for that one. Well, whenever there's a request for spirit rap, then, I tend to think of the actual title track, spirit rap. So would you like me to do spirit rap live?
Oh, yes. Sure. Go right ahead.
I invoke, decree, and dream awake the full cellular ascension of my being, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, in this now, with the full support of God, Goddess, the ascended master realm, to include our ascended master self, Father Saint Germain Sananda, the Holy Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Goddess of Mercy, Archangel Michael and the legions, Ashtar, and the entire command, Babaji, Raphael, Gabriel, clan of the trumpet angels, Aboriginal and tribal shaman, goddesses of fortune, angels of light, Elohim, clan of the serpents, Shiva, all Christ frequencies, all animal totems, elementals of fire, air, water, and earth, all divine beings of light, love, and ascension, named and unnamed, who activate the cells within my being, who are your counterparts, with the unified power of the one. I decree my highest good always operating in this now. I decree grace and mercy always operating in this now. I invoke, decree, and dream awake the full truth and reality of ascension in this now. I invoke and dream awake with every breath that I breathe the violet fire transmuting my whole being. I invoke and dream awake the full current of ascension in every cell of my being. I am ascended. I invoke and dream awake expanded God consciousness fully realized in me as unlimited abundance fulfilling my every need and desire. I invoke and dream awake the ending of procrastination, tiredness, blockages, obstacles, and unhealthy belief systems. I decree immediate abundance in my life. I invoke and dream awake my liberation from all karmic debt. I am infinite opulence. I invoke and dream awake my personal empowerment in every instant that anyone is impacted by my being and creations. I invoke and dream awake the infinite empowerment of my sexual, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and financial relationship with life. I invoke and dream awake sacred sexuality, erotic innocence, and always express the sacredness of sexual force for pleasure, creativity, and healing. I invoke and dream awake world universal healing from all sexual woundedness and shame. I invoke and dream awake worldwide release of all manipulating forces and beings who would control humanity past, present, and future. I invoke the angels and ascended masters to realign and heal all misused energy, to include the full restructuring of our DNA. I invoke and dream awake the transmutation of all negative and judgmental projections. I invoke and dream awake my constant ability to be centered and balanced in my psychic perceptions and empathic nature. All overwhelming psychic energies are released by me automatically, easily, effortlessly. I am empowered by everything. I invoke and dream awake my lucid dreaming each night I sleep and total remembering when I awake. I invoke and dream awake my infinite harmony with God, Goddess I am. I invoke and dream awake the full expression of my miraculous healing power. My life is a continuous stream of miracles. I invoke and dream awake my infinite ability and willingness to receive all life's blessings. I invoke and dream awake a constant attitude of gratitude for my whole life, all my accomplishments and blessings, including the same for the universe at large. I invoke and dream awake the full blessings of God, Goddess, the ascended masters, angels, guides, and beings of life to bless this earth. I invoke and dream awake all my decrees, invocations, and prayers I have released to the universe and open myself to God's response, support, and love in my highest good. I invoke and dream awake the release of all past, present, and future lifetimes of decrees and vows which would bind me to limitation, lack, density, and anything not of ascension in this now. I invoke and dream awake the full reclaiming of my eternal self as powerful, loving, and fully aligned in abundant God consciousness. I invoke and dream awake the total dissolving of all manipulating forces which would bind this earth plane in fear. I invoke and dream awake the influence of the ascended master realm and angels to intercede and raise the vibrations higher, to bring darkness into the light, raising the frequency of love and God consciousness on planet Earth in this now. I invoke and dream awake the ascension of my soul and planet Earth in this now.
And so it is. Thank you.
That's a big download.
That was amazing. Thank you. And some of the comments from the chat room touched my spirit. And all right now. And yes.
Well, you know, Spirit Rap is my miracle child. You know, of the 19 CDs that I have, that CD was number 5, and it's outsold everything ever since it hit. And there are countless people who say that that CD, and especially the title track, has literally saved their life.
Wow.
I remember one of the most powerful experiences I had with that album is when it first hit, because it released it in the year 2000. So it's been doing its work for 18 years now. And I remember I had the presence of mind and heart to mail a copy to a brother friend of mine in Santa Fe. I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area, actually in Marin County, you know, when I first released Spirit Rap. And I sent it to him. And not long after, you know, he called me up and he told me, he said he was ready to pull the plug on his life. And this is a very high being, but it was just a dark time in his life. And he said, you know, he went to the post office and opened his post office box, and there was Spirit Rap. And he went and sat in his car and he put that album in, and he listened to the whole 1-hour album from start to finish, never even pulled off in his car. He just sat there and listened. And he said it brought him back into alignment with his life. He recommitted to being in this life. And he was in tears and thanking me so much, you know, for giving him something that re-anchored him to this life. And one other thing about that track I just, recited, of all of the tracks on Spirit Rap, that's the one that was co-written. Everything else I wrote exclusively, but that one was co-written by myself and Astara, who was my wife at that time. Okay. So 2 years before the album, I was guided to write my prayers out in the language of I invoke and dream awake. And it was so powerful for me, I encouraged her to do the same thing. So for 2 years, it was just our personal prayers. Mm-hmm. And then when the idea for the album came, I decided to make that the title track of the album and to weave my personal prayers and her personal prayers into a universal matrix that would be applicable for everybody. So I think one of the things that is so powerful is it carries the resonance of God and Goddess, in that way. So just wanted to share that little part, and a shout out to Astara, for playing that part, in that particular piece,
There you go. You guys get the CD, you won't regret it. You will not regret it. So you mentioned Astarius before we bring this to a close, and I thank you so much for spending this last hour with us. You said the clan of the trumpet angels?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have to remember that, because actually my third son is a trumpet player. And I swear, when he puts that trumpet to its mouth, it really, I would always tell people, and it's not just a mother gushing, that it was like a spiritual experience. Mm-hmm. And he really sounds like a jazz reincarnated great, an old great from like the 50s and the 60s. He's now up in music school, in Eastman School.
What's his age, out of curiosity?
His age?
Yeah.
He will be my God. He'll be 19 in April.
Okay, so he's kind of like a prodigy.
He is just, he's kind of like a local celebrity where I live.
Okay.
And when he put, when he was in the 4th grade, and his brothers were a little bit older, I was like, okay, you guys, you need to pick out your music instruments. My oldest son picked out the saxophone. The second son got a guitar. The third son got a trumpet. And of course, the first couple of years, I say the first year, it was a little bit rough. But once he saw an older friend playing a trumpet, he took it seriously. And he was the youngest person to do solos in the county and all of that. And he's just, so I believe he is from the clan of the Trumpet Angels.
Mm-hmm. Well, anybody who wants to work with the sacred sounds, would be wise to reach out to the clan of the Trumpet Angels, which I also believe has some connection to a group of beings called the Hathors, which also, work with the sacred sound. And I think Tom Kenyon talks a lot about the Hathors, but yeah, calling upon these beings that are in charge of the sacred sounds will accelerate one's mastery in the use of those sounds. And one thing I'll also give that may be helpful to people that are working with sacred sound is, like, when I first started playing the didgeridoo, I created this invocation, and I would say, dream awake the mastery of every didgeridoo healer and player from beginningless beginning to endless end in my own mastery and expression. So I would own the mastery of all didgeridoo players, and that created a soul jump start for me. It was like linking up the telepathic battery cables and jump starting my mastery through their mastery, because we are all one. So when I would hear amazing players, I would say, oh my God, look at how amazing I am as a didgeridoo player through this part of me.
Oh, yes.
And so anybody that's dealing with any art, want to own the mastery of all of those who have gone before and established, this mastery, to own that mastery, dream awake the mastery, all of those in my own mastery and expression. And also another really powerful thing is when you're learning something new, you can take something that you already have mastery in and superimpose it over the mastery of this new thing. Yeah. Just like now, drum came before didgeridoo, but I never gave myself to the same extent to the drum, congas and djembes. And now I'm going to bring the drum back, and I'm going to superimpose the mastery that I have with the didgeridoo and vocal harmonics you know, over the drum to accelerate the mastery of the drum.
I can't
Because
wait.
see, not only is there a oneness of wholeness of being, there is a oneness of wholeness of mastery, a oneness of wholeness of instruments, you know, and on and on. And we have to remember the all-inclusiveness of the frequencies that we're dealing with in order to experience the maximum power of it. See, we walk so much in separation, you know, the exclusiveness of our separated self. But we need to dance in the all-inclusiveness of our being. And what does that mean? It means that we are cellular co-creator of every wonderful creation that has ever been brought forth. You know, we co-walked on water with the Master Christ, co-raised the dead with the Master Christ, co-parted the Red Sea with Moses, co-received enlightenment under the Bodhi tree with Buddha, and on and on and on. And it's time to own it. No more renting with option to buy, but own all of who we are. Like every good deed that was ever done was done by virtue of our co-expression of that good deed, because any being expresses while having a cellular counterpart in them for every other being in all existence.
Right on.
So we have had a hand in every wonderful thing. And when we own that, when we own that, self-esteem skyrockets.
Right on, right on. And when he comes home for summer break, I'm going to encourage him to watch this video, watch you, and encourage him to take his fiberglass didgeridoo out of the closet. When he was about 12 or 13 years old, he got his dad to buy him a didgeridoo.
Now, this is the trumpet player you're speaking about.
Yes. Now, he never actually learned how to play the didgeridoo, but he did request one when he was about 12 or 13, a fiberglass one.
Well, he'll just have to do his lips like,
yes,
which is in didgeridoo is a looser lip than trumpet. Trumpet is more tight, you know.
Oh yeah. This is awesome. So as we bring this down to a close, any final words that you would like to share, beloved, with our people?
Yeah, I think just a little bit with regards to the Ascended Master frequency. A couple little short poems. Ascended Clan, I'm calling you to guide me on my way back home. I deeply yearn to now return and claim my ascension throne. The fifth dimension and beyond, inheritance above the sky, to heaven's call I now respond, in higher realms forever fly. Ascended Clan, I ask for this not only for myself, let every being upon this earth partake of heaven's wealth. Even unto earth herself she also would return, to end the madness of this flesh afire within us burns. Please help us to remember that we all are innocent, and by mercy and compassion unto heaven earth is sent. Resurrection of ascension, and God is found in man, and we all are family members of the great Ascended Clan. The love of God within my heart has healed and set me free, a love that is because I am, therefore I love me. Among the great Ascended Clan, I am eternally. And so, beloveds, remember that you are the very resonance of ascension. And even when you are in the throes of your forgetfulness, know that there is a greater expanse of your selfhood, remembering for you, standing in the circle of eternity, remembering for you that which you may have forgotten when you begin to engage in the nightmare of the earth dream. Remember how wonderful you are. Remember that the universe would utterly be incomplete without you. And know that the expansion of the universe is at the mercy of you completely showing up. And so do show up.
Yes.
Be who you are. Know that you make a difference. Always believe in yourself. Always know that it is the whole universe offering through you, through the portal of your individual soul. And always promise to use the energy that you have in a good way. And to remember that it is you, the universe, doing the work through your soul.
Yeah.
Once again, my website is astarius.com, ASTARIUS.com. Go hear some sound clips on there, and also partake of the YouTube videos, Astarius Miraculii on YouTube.
Yes, yes.
I love you so much, and I wish you rainbows of bliss, and may you fly well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Astarius. And if you can just hold on the line, I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a close. And I'd like to thank everyone in the live chat and the live view for being here, and thank all of you in the replay. And also a big, big, big thanks to Astarius Miraculii for taking time out of your day to spend this hour with us. My heart goes out to you, and I so appreciate all the work that you're doing and the willingness to be your most authentic self. And it's an inspiration to the rest of us to not be afraid to really dig deep and to be our most authentic self. So I encourage everyone to please thumbs up this video. Please like it, share, hit the subscribe button for more great conversations.
And one other thing,
yes.
I don't think you told everybody what you are available for.
Well, I am available for readings, for personal consultations. I am Reverend Tamu Ngina, Priestess of Self. And of course, my website is down below in the description box. And I do solo shows, but my favorite has become these wonderful spotlight shows where I love to put the spotlight on spiritual movers and shakers, such as Astarius Miraculii. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We didn't want to let that pass. I was having your back on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have a capacity for us to have a brief chat and still stay connected, and you release everybody? You have that capacity?
Yes,
okay, do that.
Okay, very good, very good. So if we could take a moment to take a nice, deep, centering breath. Let's take a moment to remember our ancestors and all those who have transitioned before us. I wish you peace and great bliss. Thank you. Bye-bye.